Hello everybody and welcome back to the Data Playbook. So as mentioned in the previous video, I'm going to go through the games pretty quickly here for the Sunday games. If you need more information or want to look at the details, you're welcome to pause and zoom in to any of the information. But otherwise, I'm just going to try to get through it pretty quickly. So let's get into it. And your next game, you have Carolina at the Jets, where Carolina is favored on the money line with a spread of 1.5 and 41.5 points, so another close game. For their rankings, you have Carolina as one of the best rushing teams in the league, but the Jets are also up there right behind them. The Jets are one of the worst passing teams in the league, as are the Carolina Panthers, but the Jets have a stingy defense, allowing very few points, fifth best in the league. Same with their passing rank. The worst is our rushing rank right here. So I would look out for maybe Carolina rushing the ball all over the Jets, since they have one of the best rushing ranks, and the Jets are one of the worst at stopping the rush. Other than that, here's all the averages for the team. Looking at our quarterbacks, this is what you get from Bryce Young and Justin Fields. Fields getting an average of 18.3 PPR, so not terrible. Bryce Young getting 13.6 average in PPR, so that's not great. He does have 5 interceptions, 10 sacks suffered, 2 fumbles lost, 2 sacks, and 1 rushing fumble lost, so lots of turnovers here from Bryce Young. Over here with Justin Fields, he just has the sack fumble loss and the rushing fumble loss, so only 2 turnovers, but no interceptions. And then here's your averages for those guys. Again, break them down week by week. So one of the things to note is that Justin Fields has a lower average in his passing yards, but that comes down to week 2 in Buffalo where he only had 27, and last week where he only had 45. So those can really bring down the averages from the better weeks that he has had where they're well over 200 passing yards. So keep that in mind if you're doing any analysis on that sort of stuff. All right, next up are your running backs, which are Chuba Hubbard and Breece Hall. Breece Hall averaging 11.8 fantasy points per game, and Chuba Hubbard averaging 14, so much better over here with Chuba Hubbard, but it's still not too bad with Breece Hall. I would say out of your skill players and your running backs, you want at least 10 per game, and something consistent like that would definitely help you win a lot more games. Here's the averages for these two guys. I guess one thing to note is that Breece Hall has 1 turnover. Chuba Hubbard has no turnovers this season. And I have your breakdown of rushing yards here, with Breece Hall being kind of a lot more over the map between 113 to 20 rushing yards, so that's a lot less consistent. Looking at our number 1 wide receivers, here they are with their data. The one thing to note is that Garrett Wilson is listed as doubtful, even though I'm still going to show him here with his data, but be aware that he may not be in for this game. If we look at these guys' averages, this is what you get, and the week-by-week breakdown right here, down here. I do want to point out their receiving shares, so you get 41, almost 42% for McMillan here, and 45.5% from Garrett Wilson. So this is going to be kind of a big loss, I think, for the Jets, right? If they're throwing to him this much, they got to fill that up with the other people that they have. So other people should get more share after this game, but it depends on how well they play, because it seems that Garrett Wilson is the anchor for them. And it's kind of a similar thing for McMillan, except for that McMillan is not out, he is playing. So we'll see what missing Garrett Wilson really does for the Jets. And looking at our number 2 receivers on the team, just because Josh Reynolds will probably be your number 1 receiver on the Jets, but also to look at this data to see if they get much more. They both average a little less than that 5 points on PPR, so they're not blowing anybody out with PPR points. Here's their averages, if you want to look at that more in depth, and then their week by week. Both of them having some bad weeks with 0 here, -2 yards here, so not sure you expect to see much out of these two. And finally, wrapping up with our tight ends here, you get both of them averaging about that 6.5, 6.7 fantasy point PPR level, so I wouldn't call them exceptional, but they could work out in a pinch if you need them. Here's their averages and their breakdowns. Here you have Sanders with a little bit lower number, 7.5, 7.6% of the air share receiving yards, so a little less than average for a lot of the tight ends, but that's kind of what you expect out of a tight end that's not as involved in the game. Over here with Mason Taylor, he gets a larger percentage actually, so he might be somebody that they lean on without Garrett Wilson, since he gets probably the next largest share of receiving yards. So he might be someone that you want to look into. I guess this is probably about 20%, but I'm not completely sure. So for this game, it's hard to say what the matchup would be. I'd really look out for Garrett Wilson being out. That would really hurt the Jets, I think. And then I'd look for this rushing game, because I think that Carolina could run all over the Jets if they really wanted to. So that may be something else to watch out for in this game. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed and got something out of it. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. If there's more you want to see, leave a comment on what I can do better. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching.